Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to stay updated with our latest video. Carlos Santana hid the pain, betrayal, and times he begged for the suffering to end for decades. We saw the rock star, the man who won Woodstock, but we never knew about the 7 times he tried to end it all. Now, at age 77, Santana isn't just revealing his darkest moments, he's also revealing the truth that shaped his life, music, and soul. Let's get to the whole story. Carlos Santana's early life was full of drama and tough times. He was born in Mexico in 1947. His dad played violin in mariachi bands and taught Carlos to play music when he was very young. When Carlos was 8, his family moved to Tijuana. This move changed his life in big ways. In Tijuana, Carlos saw a cool rock band called the TJS playing in a park. This made him fall in love with blues and rock music. But life in Tijuana wasn't all good. For 2 years Carlos went through something really bad. An American man abused him in ways no child should ever be hurt. This man would take Carlos across the border a lot, buying him toys and clothes to keep him quiet. It only stopped when the man hit Carlos for looking at a woman through a window. This awful time left Carlos feeling guilty for many years. When Carlos was just 15, he started playing guitar in strip clubs in Tijuana. It was a rough place for a kid. He saw some pretty scary things, like a police officer being mean to a woman who worked there, but playing in these clubs also helped Carlos create his special mix of Latin music with blues and rock. In the early 1960s he worked as a dishwasher at the Tic-Toc drive-in and saved every penny he could. One day, he found out that his mother had taken all of his $300 savings and used it to pay for his sister's dental work. When Carlos asked her about it, she only gave him $20 back. He was so angry that he left home with just $20 and went back to Tijuana, where he played music in strip clubs to make money. Life in San Francisco was hard for Carlos. He lived in the Mission District in a small, crowded apartment with other musicians. There wasn't even a bed, so he slept on the floor. He worked long hours washing dishes and ate mostly rice and beans. He didn't have enough money for proper guitar strings, so he played with broken ones or whatever he could find. It was a hard time, but he didn't give up on his music before he became famous. Carlos performed for hours on the streets of San Francisco in locations such as Fisherman's Wharf and Union Square, often earning less than $5 per day. While playing, he heard many different types of music, like jazz and folk, and he learned how to combine these sounds into his style, which helped him get people's attention. The turning point occurred in 1966 when Santana formed his first band, the Santana Blues Band. It all came together by accident. While working at a drive-in, he met Tom Fraser, who put him in touch with Greg Rowley, a keyboard player. They added David Brown on bass and Marcus Malone on percussion. Michael Carabello suggested the name Santana because it sounded good. Santana's rise to fame seemed like a sign from God. The band got their big break at Woodstock thanks to a producer named Bill Graham, who believed in them. Graham, who was helping to plan the festival, told the organizers they had to include Santana. At the time, Santana wasn't famous, the band hadn't even released their first album yet, and most of the 400,000 people at Woodstock didn't know who they were just a local act from San Francisco that had been playing in small bars in places like Tijuana. Not long before they were given a 45-minute slot on August 16, 1969, in the afternoon, between big names like the Grateful Dead and Creedence Clearwater Revival. The circumstances made their inclusion even more surprising. What made Santana's performance was even more remarkable due to his state of mind during the show. He was only 22 years old, and his unexpected encounter with Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead after arriving by helicopter at 3 a.m. Santana thought they would play, but Garcia gave him something to try, possibly peyote mescaline or another strong hallucinogen. The effects had a profound impact on Santana, causing him to enter a vivid trip on stage earlier than expected. He saw his guitar neck moving like a snake, and it scared him to stay grounded. Santana played with his eyes closed, believing that his fingers would find the right notes. At one point, he prayed to God to help him not look silly in front of the huge crowd. Santana's performance at Woodstock made them overnight stars. Bill Graham had told Carlos that fame would hit hard after the festival, and he was right. Just 2 weeks after Woodstock, on August 30, 1969, Santana's first album came out, and all of a sudden they were no longer just a local band but a nationwide sensation. Graham helped the band make the most of their success by booking them for big events like the Gold Rush Festival and even getting them on the Ed Sullivan Show in October 1969. These appearances made the band even M. Santana's first record achieved significant success. LL. The self-titled record stayed on the Billboard 200 pop album chart for an incredible 108 weeks, peaking at number 4 in November 1969. Their first single, Jingo, only made it to number 56, but it was the song Evil Ways that became their big breakthrough. It climbed the charts, reaching number 9 and spent 13 weeks in the top rankings. Interestingly, the decision to include Evil Ways on the album came from Bill Graham, who encouraged the band to cover Willie Bobo's version of the song. The album's success didn't just bring fame, it also allowed Carlos Santana to keep a promise he'd made to his mother. With his first royalty check, he bought her a house and made sure it had everything she needed, including a brand new refrigerator. This was the start of a career that would make Santana a rock legend. Meanwhile, Carlos Santana married Deborah King, the daughter of blues musician Saunders King, in 1973. When his music career was reaching its peak, they met at a concert at the Marin Civic Center and started building a life together. Over the years, their relationship became more than just a marriage, it was also a partnership in business. Deborah played a big role in managing Santana's career and finances, especially during the 1990s when Carlos admitted he might have ended up with nothing without her help. Together they had 3 children. Stella was a singer and songwriter, Salvador was a songwriter and band leader, and Angelica was a writer and film producer. They were married for 34 years and worked well together in business. In 1994, they took over the Santana Band, with Deborah serving as vice president and chief operating officer of Santana Management until 2007. In 1998, they started the MRO Foundation. Deborah played a significant role in Carlos's humanitarian efforts. GE success with the 1999 album Supernatural, which went platinum 15 times and won 9 Grammy Awards. But their marriage wasn't as perfect as it seemed. In her memoir Space Between the Stars, published in 2005, Deborah revealed that Carlos had been cheating on her. This, along with other problems, led to, following the publication of the memoir, Carlos publicly confessed to cheating on Deborah and their children, expressing his regret and vowing to transform into the man she desired. Carlos openly admitted to cheating on Deborah and their children, expressing his remorse and promising to become the kind of man she wanted him to be. Connected to a bigger problem in his life. Spiritual life. He had previously followed a spiritual guru, Sri Chinmoy, but left his guidance in 1982 because of disagreements about personal choices. The divorce took a heavy toll on Carlos. It brought him to the darkest point in his life, leading to 7 suicide attempts. He felt so much pain that he believed death might be better than the suffering each time he tried, though something stopped him. He described hearing a soft yet powerful voice that said, "I'm sitting next to you, isn't that enough?" These moments, combined with looking at a picture of Jesus and lighting a candle, helped pull him back from the brink. Over time he found joy again in simple things like eating and breathing. The pain of the divorce also brought back memories of a traumatic event from his childhood when he was sexually abused at the age of 10 by a friend of his father. Through his faith he eventually found the strength to forgive his abuser, describing forgiveness as freeing. His spiritual journey has been full of ups and downs. In 1973 his guru gave him the name Deep, meaning the lamp, light and eye of God. After leaving the guru's guidance, Carlos later became a Christian, which brought him peace. By 2015, he was so dedicated to his faith that he talked about becoming a church minister when he retired from music. He even had plans to open a church in Maui, Hawaii, in 1999. When Carlos Santana, who had signed with Columbia Records in 1969, came back at age 52, he released an album called Supernatural that became one of the biggest hits in music history, selling 30 million copies around the world. This happened because Davis approached Santana with the idea of working together again, even though it was a big risk since Santana hadn't had a top 10 hit since 1971. However, it worked out in a way that no one expected. At the Grammy Awards in 2000, Santana won 9 awards in one night, tying Michael Jackson for the most Grammys ever won in one night. The album went to number 1 in 11 count. He remained at the top of the U.S. charts for 12 weeks. To win the Grammy for Album of the Year. One of Supernatural's most famous songs was Smooth, but it almost didn't happen. The song began as a rough idea called Room 17, in which a groupie meets Santana in a hotel. Pete Ganner, an A&R executive, thought the record needed a big hit, so he pushed for the song. At first, Santana wasn't interested. ANIT took a personal message from Clive Davis to persuade Santana to agree. Rob Thomas wrote and sang the song. He was having a chill life in Manhattan when he met Santana. He wanted the band and Thomas to perform the song live in the studio, saying it made everyone feel good. The result was a giant hit. Smooth was the last #1 song of the 1990s and the first #1 song of the 2000s. It stayed at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 weeks, spent 30 weeks in the top 10, and was on the chart for a total of 58 weeks. Santana's story shows how far she worked. Work can take you. In the early 1960s, he went to San Francisco and worked as a dishwasher. He also played music for tips on the streets. Today, he is worth an estimated $120 million. After Supernatural, which made over $375 million in sales, his fame went through the roof. Besides buying a $6 million home in Las Vegas and a $20.5 million home in Hawaii, Santana is also a smart businessman who started a chain of Mexican restaurants with chef Roberto Santibanez. Even though he is 77 years old, Santana hasn't slowed down. He still performs in Las Vegas at the House of Blues in the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. His residency, called An Intimate Evening with Santana Greatest Hits Live presented by SiriusXM, has been going strong for 13 years and is extended through 2025. He plays high-energy shows several nights. Santana plays high-energy shows several nights a week, and plans are underway for new dates in early 2025. This goes to charities like the Emerald Foundation and the House of Blues Music Forward Foundation, which shows how much he cares about giving back. In September 2024, Carlos Santana had to cancel a few big shows because he needed surgery right away for a back problem. He had to cancel his September 4th show at the Amphitheater in Albuquerque and his September 2nd show in Phoenix. The 77-year-old guitarist, who had been playing seated lately, also had to postpone his September and early October residency shows at the House of Blues in Las Vegas. Even though he had to cancel some shows, he still managed to play on August 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st. One of these shows was at the Kia Forum in Englewood, and it was an exceptional one. In honor of the album's 25th anniversary, Santana played 5 songs from the legendary Supernatural. These shows proved that Santana could still make great music in 2023, even though he was having health problems. Many people were upset by Santana's unplanned 15-minute speech at a concert in Atlantic City, New Jersey, in which he discussed gender being decided before birth. His remarks made the audience uncomfortable, and the moment went viral after someone shared a video online. Santana was quoted as saying, "When God made you and me before we came out of the womb, you know who you are and what you are." After this, he apologized on Facebook for his hurtful comments and admitted that they had hurt people, but he later deleted the apology and posted a mysterious poem that said, "The energy of consciousness generates its kind." It was even more controversial because it happened at a time when many anti-LGBTQ bills were being introduced in the U.S., some of which were aimed at transgender youth. At the same Atlantic City concert, Santana also showed public support for comedian Dave Chappelle. He said, "I am like this with my brother Dave Chappelle," referring to their close relationship. This caused even more backlash because Chappelle had been criticized for his Netflix special, The Closer, which had controversial comments about transgender people. At the same time that Santana backed Chappelle, many U.S. states were passing laws against LGBTQ rights, which made things worse. Advocacy groups, such as Leaders from San Francisco Pride, criticized Santana's comments, and many civil rights groups warned that comments like these from famous people could make life even harder for transgender people. People were furious at Santana because he is well known in the Bay Area and has a lot of power in the music business. Despite all of this, Santana's music is still great, and his band has become like a family. He is married to Cindy Blackman Santana. She has been the band's drummer since 2015, and she is 64 years old. She is a fantastic singer, and her talent often steals the show. At the Kia Forum show, she wowed the Crow Carlos's 41-year-old son Salvador, from his first marriage, is also in the band and wowed the crowd with a beautiful drum solo during the encore after Are You Ready? Salvador plays keyboards, drums, and sings. And even raps on songs like Maria Maria. Their shows, which are part of the Oneness Tour, have an 18-song set list that includes both old favorites and new hits. Carlos and his family are getting ready for a longer stay at the House of Blues Las Vegas in 2025. The show is called An Intimate W Greatest Hits Live, featuring Carlos Santana, will run from January to May and promises to showcase his amazing singing talent. LD has a deep and unique way of thinking about life and death. His ideas come from his spiritual journey, which has shaped him over the years. He used to follow Sri Chinmoya's teaching and became a Christian in 1992. His wife, Cindy Blackman, has also had a big impact on how he sees life and staying healthy. The two of them focus on four main things: a strict diet, focus, and devotion. Anna thinks that feeding your mind and spirit is just as important as eating the right food. He says that you can eat the best food and still be weak if you don't think right. His spiritual life is forceful, and he once had a mystical experience with the Virgin of Guadalupe. That experience changed him deeply, and now he often asks others, "What is God saying to you right now?" More than just music, Santana wants his fans to become spiritually awake and feel strong in their lives. He often tells them to enjoy their own light and divinity. He thinks it's important to bring hope and courage to the world, especially when people are having a difficult time. Santana is a visionary who seeks to bring peace, comfort, and unity to all. In 1998, he started the MOB Foundation to help children around the world with their education and health. He also fights for social justice and what's right. At an Atlanta Braves civil rights game, he spoke out, "I am here to give a voice to the invisible." His actions show that he is more than just a musician.